All right, so you guys just spent time starting to look at how bacteria really looks in the real world. What we'll talk about tomorrow when I'm there is how do bacteria reproduce, which is a pretty big deal. And then we'll talk about how to kill bacteria. Something that'd be really important for you guys to know is that when I went to the doctor, they did not give me antibiotics. They definitely did not give me antibiotics because I have a virus. They gave me what's called an antiviral drug. When you have a bacterial infection like strep throat, they will give you antibiotics, and we'll learn the difference between those. But just highlighting the last part of class here, you guys should hopefully be about halfway done. I cannot stress enough how much bacteria exists everywhere in the world around us, both good and bad. Even this article right here says bacteria are all around us, and that's okay. Like always in class, we need to learn that there's really, really bad types of bacteria in the world, but there's also some bacteria that we need to live in our bodies and the food we eat and stuff like that. So what you guys will be doing next year is some more group work activity, but as science teachers, we think it's really important that you guys understand some of the real life implications of bacteria and how it affects everyone around us. So some examples of bacterial infections you guys have probably heard of are anthrax. That was a big deal in the White House with people trying to use what we call bioterrorism against our government. Bioterrorism is when you cause terror with living things like bacteria. Botulism is a much older form, but it used to happen a lot with canned goods in the middle of the 1900s. Cholera is a really big deal in countries with water problems. E. coli, we have E. coli outbreaks all the time here with beef and various vegetables and stuff like that. Leprosy is a much older disease, but it still is caused by bacteria and it exists in the world. You guys have all probably heard of pneumonia and especially salmonella. We all know about eating cookie dough, but that is the bacteria that we're usually talking about. Strep throat, we've already talked about a little bit. Gonorrhea is an STD that you guys hopefully learn about in that class. The bubonic plague, obviously we know, is a huge part in history. And last but not least, some of you guys have maybe had to get a tetanus shot from stepping on an old nail. So what you guys are going to do now is spend some time. You're going to go onto the CDC website, just like it says there, and you can go and go by letter and look up. If we're going to go look up botulism, and you can go find the Black Plague and all those. And I don't want you to get overwhelmed by the CDC website, but I do want you guys to understand the basic principles of these bacteria. So when we talk about pathogen, what actually is it? So cholera, what bacteria causes cholera? How is it transmitted? Just read a little bit. I mean, you guys probably know that the bubonic plague was carried by rats, and it had to do with what those rats were carrying. And then symptoms we care about in humans, what does this look like? And maybe even talk about the treatment. Do we have a treatment for it? How do we treat people who get that thing? So I think there's 11 on this page. What you guys are going to go do now is break up into groups of 4, and each of you are going to get 3 diseases. Okay, now I know that that's off by 1, but get in your groups, and each one of you is going to pick 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you're going to be responsible for knowing all those as your group then. So, if it's me, Vinny, Anna, and whoever, I'm going to pick anthrax, E. coli, and pneumonia. And I'm going to do those 3, and then I'm going to share with everybody else. And you need to know about these. These are the ones that we handpicked. So that should take you guys about 15 minutes. After that, there's quite a few really good up-to-date antibiotics videos in the world. Antibiotics are a really important thing that is happening in the world now. And we know that that's how we kill bacteria. We'll talk about that. But we as humans also, if you guys look right here, we're causing a crisis with antibiotics, and what we're doing is we're using them too much. So we're actually going to watch this frontline video. It's kind of like Dateline, but it talks about how we as humans are using antibiotics too much, and now they're starting to figure out a way to kind of outgrow, the bacteria are figuring out a way to outgrow those antibiotics, and what we call those are superbugs. And it's a pretty big deal. And if you guys have ever heard of MRSA infections, those are medically resistant staph infections that now the medicine isn't working on that bacteria. And if you guys don't understand that medicine not working on bacteria is a huge deal for you in your future, then you need to rethink about that, because it is going to be a big deal. So as long as your guys' phones are away, you can just watch that video and I'm not going to worry about it. However, I will tell the sub that if she sees more than one phone, You guys, she's going to pause the video, and then you have to write down 5 things you learned from the video the rest of class. So I should be back on Tuesday, but that's what you guys have. Take about 15 minutes, go research the diseases, and then you guys will start learning about antibiotics and the crisis that we have in the world nowadays. Get to it, be productive, and I'll see you guys with some Valentine's Day candy on Tuesday.